Welcome back to Sunbird Garage. This is going to be my longest episode to date, so I apologize in advance. But this episode, I did the Raptor Liner on the bottom of the car, twice actually, as you'll see, and I actually painted the engine compartment too. So there's a lot of stuff going on in this video, so enjoy. Well, it's May 2018. The car was fully epoxied and it was looking pretty good. Yeah, I still have plenty of body work to do, but I'm always looking for projects that will help push the project forward and keep me motivated. I don't know that this will be a little project, but it's a project. I had this wild idea for the underside of the car. I said, why not use a truck bed liner to protect it? The material is supposed to be easy to spray and it's strong enough to protect the truck bed, so I also knew that the material could be tinted to match the body color of the car, and I thought that would be a good idea. So after watching dozens of YouTube videos on this stuff, I decided to use the U-Pole Raptor Liner kit. It comes with a shoots gun to spray the material, and you just need to add your color. So I visited my local paint shop again, and picked up a quart of base coat in agate red, which was the original color of the car. I bought the 4-liter kit thinking, that'll be plenty. It's what they use for a truck bed, right? This kit was about $135 on Amazon as of today. I think it was a little bit less than that when I bought it, so not too expensive. They do offer a 6-liter kit for about $215 and an 8-liter kit for about $260 as well. I spent a day or so scuffing the bottom of the car with some red Scotch-Brite and some sandpaper to prepare the surface. Then I spent a full day wrapping the car like a Christmas present. I wasn't sure how much overspray there would be, so I wrapped everything I thought might get some overspray on it. The material is easy to mix. They call it the fill, shake, and shoot in their literature. The 1-liter bottle has a small little indent at the top of the bottle. You pour the hardener into that line, then add your base coat color. They say up to 10% by volume, which is about 100 milliliter. Then you just shake it for 2 to 3 minutes, then you're ready to go. I can't remember what exact pressure I used, but I set the pressure somewhere between the recommended 45 and 60 psi at the gun and started spraying. The material was surprisingly easy to spray and had really little overspray actually. I sprayed the whole bottom of the car in a couple of coats, well, almost 2 coats. Yep, I came up a bit short on the material. I didn't take into account all the different surfaces under the car, which would, basically add up to more surface area than a normal truck bed. So if you're going to do this, I would recommend at least the 6-liter kit. I think if I had 2 more liters, it would have come out perfect. Maybe the 8-liter just to be super safe here. Remember that chunk of hatch we used for the spoiler template? Well, I kept that. And since it was covered by the spoiler for 40 years, I figured the paint had to be close to the original color. No sun fading or damage like that. And it seemed to match the sprayed Raptor Liner really well, so I call that a victory. So here's another video that I did on Facebook, but I had AC/DC playing in the background and I didn't want YouTube to flag me, so I dropped the fenders on the car and noted that the left fender here needed some adjustment. I thought the fenders were just sitting on here, but I guess I did bolt them on here. And I'd started to do some filler work here on the fender. But epoxy's looking pretty good. There's some overspray. Yeah, I'll sand that off later, I suppose. Floors are done. They're still looking good. Starting to get a little overspray and whatnot on them. Yeah, little filler work there. A quarter. There's the tail panel. This is an original tail panel, still in one piece. Usually these are they disintegrate, they fall apart. So I don't know if they didn't put enough UV protectant in them when they made them or what, but this one still is pliable. And I didn't use it, the surface is pretty tore up, but it was good for a guideline for the fiberglass tail panel that I ended up putting on the car. Still gotta do body work on this side. I haven't done anything on this side of the car, I'm saying here. Still work to do. Oh, here's me crawling under the car. Raptor Liner's all done. Well, first round's done. I started to do some body work here, but rather than me ramble through all these pictures, I'll just do a little montage here. At this point, I started actually buying parts to go back on the car, so that was kind of exciting. I bought a nice Overkill Race Cars K-frame for it. These are made by Justin Kill, and he's very well known in the H-body world for his quality and parts. And I actually had mine powder coated at a local shop, and it came out fantastic. It fit the car pretty well too. I figured the car deserved some upgrades, and it didn't really need this part, since I don't plan to build a wild racer, but it still looked cool, so, had to have it. Next, I figured it was a good time to paint the engine compartment, so I got up my high-dollar Harbor Freight purple gun again. Well, actually it was a new one. I just usually toss them when I'm done, because, what's the point of cleaning them? It's $15. I just used single-stage paint here. I didn't really trust myself to any kind of fancy base coat, clear coat yet. But for my first time spraying actual finish paint, it came out pretty good. I did get some junk in the paint in a couple of hidden spots, and I found a few spots that I missed. I did circle back on those missed spots the next day, and I was really happy with the results. It has come a long way since the day we stripped it down to the epoxy stage, to the paint stage. And the engine compartment matched our test piece from the Formula's original hatch too, so another victory. Well, the Formula has color on it, other than the bottom. So I painted the entire front end chassis part. Didn't go past the jams. Not ready to do those yet. But yeah, single stage. I'm sure there's spots that I missed, but I can't see them at the moment. It looks red on film. It's more orangey red, I would say. So, but like in there, I'll have to fog that, I guess. But I think I got everything. I rolled it over, and rolled it over, and rolled it over, hitting it from all the angles I could. So I think it's red. Still have to figure out what I'm doing for a battery tray. I've got one over here somewhere for a Nova. That might work. But yeah, progress, I guess. See, there's another spot that I missed. So tomorrow, I guess I'll come out here and take notes as to what I hit and what I missed, what needs to be touched up. It's hard to get into these seams too. Fog those, I guess. A little thin there, maybe. Oh, right there, maybe. This is all painted. See, it's hard to get inside those little spots there, but getting inside there is a pain in the ass. but I think I got most of it. There's probably a couple spots that I missed. Getting it down inside, you see there's a little bit back in there too. It's real hard to get in there. But I guess I'll just make some notes and hit those spots and cover them up. But yeah, I'm pretty happy. Hopefully it looks good tomorrow. I don't see any bugs in it, so that's good. When you're doing a car like this, I guess it's very important to try to document its before as much as possible. You know, so you can replicate, you know, markings and what's blacked out and what's painted and what's not painted. I noted some other cars like Monza Spiders had the front area of the car blacked out. This is behind the grille, and it's so that color doesn't show through the grille. So looking back at old pictures, I could see where some of this was blacked out, but most of it was rusted, so you couldn't really see where the blackout stopped. Did it go all the way across? So I blacked out the whole front end, and that seemed right, and it actually looked really good. Okay, back to Raptor Liner, round 2. It needed a second coat to correct these spots that I missed. You know, thin spots, didn't have enough material. So I emailed U-Pull asking if I could add a second coat, if there's anything I needed to do here. They responded pretty quick, which is always a good sign. So basically you just need to abrade the surface a bit, so I scuffed the whole underside with a red Scotch-Brite. So again, Brian Johnson was screaming in the background, so I had to overdub this video to be safe. This was before I painted the engine compartment, and I actually washed the whole car. It's probably the first time I've washed it in, years. It was pretty dirty from dust and dirt and blasting media that would still fall out whenever you rolled over the car. So yeah, it was interesting. As I worked on this car and rolled it over and left and right, you would continue to get blasting media just tumble out of it. So I'm just kind of doing a walk around. There's my dash that I painted. Came out really good. Seam sealed some of the seams in there. Look, there's my hole plug that I seam sealed in an earlier video. Floors are still looking good. They look clean now. I washed the car. And more seam seal there in the engine compartment. There's some overspray from the Raptor Liner. Not a big deal there. But I'd sanded the upper half of the car here already. Yeah, I sanded that part. And I needed to sand the lower part still. But it was really easy. I just used a red Scotch-Brite and scuffed it up. Yeah, again, that 4-liter kit really wasn't enough. You can see some thin spots here that I missed. And it's actually the original Code 77 agate red from 1980. And funny thing is, all the other GM brands call this Cinnabar red. Pontiac calls it agate red, so I guess they had to be different. It's hard to get into those little areas there. Some more spots that I missed. Some more spots that I missed. More spots that I missed. More spots that I missed. So yeah, I took notes as to what I missed, so that when I came back and did this again, I could make sure I, put some attention on those spots. Yeah, it's still wet there, still dripping. But it was nice to get the car cleaned again. After everything was sanded again, the car needed to be wrapped up again. This process took me about 2 days, if I recall. It's a pain in the butt, but I didn't want to get any Raptor Liner in places that I didn't want Raptor lined. Oops, Raptor lined my bald head. This second coat came out great and was now fully covered. One thing I'll note is I screwed in bolts into all the holes to prevent Raptor Liner from getting in there and gooing up the threads. Well, second coat's on. I think I got everything this time. It's hot in here. I probably shouldn't have did it when it's this humid out. That's not too bad, but I think I got everything. Rolled it over, did both sides. Getting into the wheel wells was a real pain. But I think I got every spot that I had missed before. I think. I'll probably find a spot tomorrow and then be aggravated. So, you know, like down in here, it was hard to get into that inner wheel lip. So I'm sure there's some spots in there that I'll have to paint with a rattle can or something. But yeah, I think it's good. Start putting the suspension back on maybe. Brake lines, fuel lines. Unwrap it like a Christmas present tomorrow. Probably piss the neighbors off. Stupid Jeep. Unwrapping it like a Christmas present this morning. There's paper. What a mess. Those are my covers for my shifter plate and e-brake hole. But yeah, looks pretty good. Still pretty happy. Starting to put a little bit of stuff on it. Probably need to let this stuff cure a little bit more before I get too aggressive on it. But I slapped in the gas tank hardware. I need to see if I can find new e-brake stuff. These are pretty ratty. Especially this one. Yeah. So, I guess I'll look around. Ow, I'm tripping over shit. Project Phoenix is making progress. It's gone from this crusty mess to this good-looking Raptor-lined underside. Only took me about 3 years to get to this point. Yeah, this is from 2020 when I did this second coat and the last few shots, so yeah. Anyways, I was getting to the point to actually start putting stuff back onto the car, and that was exciting. Nearly 4 years of tearing it down and fixing holes to finally getting some color on the car, to painting some parts. These are my frame plates and battery tray, and bolting them back into the car. Final couple of pictures here. This is the battery tray I ended up using. It's actually a 68 to 72 Nova battery tray. Uses a little bit larger battery, and it actually fit in the car really well. Yeah, I need to uncover this car at some point. Next video maybe. So I hope you found that somewhat interesting. I enjoyed the process. It was a learning curve for the paint and the Raptor liner and all that, but I enjoyed how it came out. Came out pretty good. I think next week, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do next week. I've got fuel tank stuff to do. I got tail panel stuff to do. I got fuel line stuff to do. Brakes, suspension. Oh, maybe suspension. Maybe that's what we'll do next. Anyway, thanks for watching.